not over. The dawn's not that far away. Hop back on the saddle soon. You saw the soldier. The dark can consume your brain. All we ever wanted was a little.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis as we get set for another round of tonight's coverage, the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals. Tonight, it is a short track once again in this series. We've been accustomed to it time and time again as we get set for tonight's running of the Gearheads Diecast Indy 150. My name is Blake McCandless, joined alongside Justin Prince and Zach Johnson down in the virtual production trailer. But Justin, I think we may have to save our pre-race analysis for a little bit later. We're already ready for the starting grid for tonight's race.
Yes, indeed. A very stacked field of drivers is all set to go here, and several were sent home, including a couple big names, Blake.
Couple big names heading home, as you can see on your screen. The starting lineup once again, the 99 going after that owners championship are going to go a long way tonight towards that goal with Jordy Lopez and Will Norton on the front row. Brian Mercurio, Derek Justice third and fourth, Tucker Minter in fifth, Ryan Doucette sixth, Kevin McAdams in seventh, Patrick Fogel in eighth. Inside of row number 5 is Adam Sweet, and the birthday boy Sean Butler rounds out the top 10.
Happy birthday to him, as Evan Rice will start in 11th, as Ethan Corder will start alongside him, Andrew Schwartz and Jonathan Oltz in row number 6. Round 7. Justin Rodden and Jordan Worth will start 15th and 16th. Josh Parker and Matthew Zwack, Aaron Maroney Jr., and Casey Nemitz, the top 20.
Nathan Rabideau starts 21st. 22nd is Brett Pancari. 23rd to Cosme Ionescu. 24th is Tyler Williams. 25th, Christian Peterson. Tristan Hagenstein is 26th. 27th to Gary Waterworth. 28th is Nate Stewart. John Poole the third is 29th. Rich Jamieson rounds out your top 30.
The last of the drivers in the show were Lucas Plussel, Jack Painter, Kyle Short, Andy Margot, Robert Dorman, and Justin Millot. The drivers sent home: Alexander Russell, Tyler Lehman, David Cabrera, Kenny Brady, who didn't set a time in qualifying, and Jake Poulin.
So once again, a theme here at FTF, drivers being sent home, and we'll have a lot to talk about tonight. As you see, 78 degrees ambient temperature makes for a 126-degree track. Pretty slick tonight for 150 laps around the track they used to call IRP. Jordy Lopez, Will Norton steps on the gas, and you'll see the drivers very quickly start to navigate to that little bit of banking around the top side of this 0.69 mile speedway, and we are green flag racing here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
Nice clean start from competitors, and you'll see a lot of drivers migrate their way to the top as this race goes on. It is a top groove race facility. You can make the middle lurk for a little bit, however. There is a slight bit of banking difference in the middle of the corners that makes things tricky, so you want to find a hole to get up to that top wall.
You certainly do, as you see several drivers already starting to get single file, start to navigate towards that top side of the racetrack. They are side by side right now between, I believe that is Tucker Minter, Patrick Fogel and Kevin McAdams right now doing battle right there. That's for 7th.
McAdams subbing tonight in the Rockies 02 machine, struggling to find a hole to be able to get up to that top line. He's the first of the drivers side by side. And you can just see how some of the drivers right behind them are utilizing about a lane down from the wall to be able to get enough arc, to be able to get a run off the corner, just that touch bit to make sure they don't slam into the wall on the corner exit. For McAdams, the first hole may be right behind Sean Butler to be able to get back into line.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. Give up that spot. Let Sean Butler get up in front of him. He'll slot right in there, just about a car length in front of Evan Rice. But throughout the field, they have quickly gotten single file. Big gap back to 11th. Ethan Quarter trying to hang on over Jonathan Oates, as you see very, very closely. Everybody's starting to already navigate up towards that fence.
Whenever official racing comes here, Blake, it's a track position game in part, because you need to not only have the speed to make your way around this racetrack, you need to qualify well and then keep said track position. If you get yourself towards the front, you're fighting tooth and nail to hold on to those positions, and that's why we see so many drivers running in the line they are right now. They don't want to risk trying to using up their stuff early on and diving to the inside and in turn going backwards.
They go backwards quickly. They go forwards quickly here as well. 0.69 miles around this racetrack. The record here at this facility set by David Green all the way back in 1994. 21.766 second lap time right now. We're looking out at battles where these guys are right around 23 seconds. Not going to be anywhere in territory of perhaps setting that record tonight with the temperatures that we have out at this racetrack. But a big gaggle of cars back here around the 20th position. You can see a side-by-side battle right there. That is for 17th. Christian Peterson stuck on the bottom. You also see Nate Stewart trying to make his way beneath down the back straightaway. So battles going on all over this racetrack.
And you can make passes here. It just takes a ton of time and execution, because you can get so close to the wall and so close to making contact on corner exit in particular. So you need to be able to play it out smartly, where you're able to squeeze the car above and force them off the throttle if you have the car below, and then try and slot your way into a spot. Some of the best drivers can execute this line, though, for several consecutive laps, as CP nearly hit the quarter panel of Zwack.
And he's trying to use all the room he can. He may go for the slider right here, and he's able to slot there directly in front of Zwack. And now Zwack going to come under attack from Aaron Mulrooney Jr., trying to make his way up into the 16th position. So that's how quickly it can happen here. You're going to see a couple of slide job-esque moves being made here. If you can slide up in the middle of the corner, we look on board here with your point leader, Andrew Schwartz, trying to make up some ground. He's running 18th just behind this battle.
3 top 10 so far, or rather 5 top 10s on the season, 3 top 5 so far for Schwartz. I think he's just playing the patience game right now, watching some of the other drivers use up some of their equipment and just waiting for his opportunities to pounce, especially since some of the drivers are starting to plow off the corner. Compare that, though, to Josh Parker, who has the help of a spotter for tonight. He seems to be very comfortable going down nearly to the flat to try and make some moves, but CP is just carving his way through this pack. The biggest mover by far, plus 10.
And like you mentioned, this is a difficult track to get it done at. You see Peterson on the outside of the 18 Interstate Batteries Camry. So he goes by Josh Parker, slots in himself into the 14th position. He'll try to get one more. Jonathan Oates under assault here from Peterson. The best job we've seen so far, looking out everywhere on this field. No doubt about it, he is making that second lane work. You're not going to see anybody down here on the flat. There is more banking in the second and third lane here, just about 12 degrees here at IRP around that outside. The bottom just not in play, you would think, but Peterson not doing a bad job of trying to make that second lane work. He may have another spot here off the back straightaway, and he does.
Well, you have to remember, Christian Peterson's expertise is short track racing, and the best short track racers get that line to work because it's the shortest distance around, in part, yes, despite the banking difference, but it's also an opportunity to be able to make passes compared to the position lock that is running on the top. The tough part's going to be he's already 7-8 seconds behind your race leader from his starting position. He's one of the quickest cars, yes, but it's going to take a lot of time to get there as one driver has crashed to the inside down the backstretch. Adam Sweet has now bring out the caution.
Caution flag is out, and indeed it is for that 55 machine of Adam Sweet. And I think this was battling back for about the 33rd, 32nd position as we You see our first caution flag of the evening. We'll get a look at it on the bar visuals replay here in just a moment. I think he had a little bit of help going around here on the back straightaway, and I think that help was in the form of Andy Margot.
Yeah, Margot got fishtaily coming off the corner, and that pulled him away from the wall and right into the fender of Adam Sweet. Sweet was not expecting that. And then as Sweet tried to get going, he ended up coming back across the track, and in turn, that's enough to trigger the caution flag. Significant damage to Adam Sweet.
It's often a thing you'll see on these short tracks, that driver on the inside line that gets the door of the car from the outside is usually the one that gets the worst end of it, or perhaps goes around. So we see the rest of the field starting to make their way onto pit road. We are only at lap number 18. These drivers having an unlimited set of tires available for them on pit road. And we'll see a change for the race lead off of pit road. Unless Norton got caught speeding, he is able to make the pass by Jordi Lopez on pit road.
Just about a second quicker, I should rather say, off that pit lane in total. Norton was just able to execute it a little bit better to be able to come off the lane, but several different drivers took 2 tires, including Jonathan Oates in that sequence, to try and get themselves track position towards the front. And this helps drivers like Christian Peterson, because we talked about the speed of CP up to 11. He might be able to challenge for one of the top spots already. By the way, Andy Margot EOL as a result of that contact that brought the caution out.
That'll put Margot back a little bit. Again, a regular competitor out here at FTF, and it looks like they get together, bring out our first caution flag of the evening. We know these short tracks, we've seen pretty much every type of race that you could get. Obviously, with this schedule here in this series, we've been treated to many different types of short tracks here. We went to New Smyrna a little bit earlier on in the year. We were at the Bull Ring, Myrtle Beach Speedway. We've been to South Boston before, where we had an incredibly clean race. So I'll throw the question to you, Justin, in terms of what race you think we're going to see, because we've seen kind of a wreck fest, if you want to call it, at a couple of these short tracks. But the last time we were out at South Boston, I think we only had one caution flag slow us down. So early on in this race, looks like we've gotten along clean. What do you think we're going to see the rest of the night?
Based on my experiences here at this track with this car combination, I'm thinking a mix of both, because you'll see some long green flag runs, in my opinion, but you'll also see a lot of incidents come into play with some drivers getting close coming off the corners, as well as some drivers getting a little bit impatient and making some aggressive moves as they go for the choose cone right here. So it's going to be where I think you'll see a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B tonight. The interesting thing is, Will Norton chose the bottom here, Blake. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to get a good launch here. Just about a majority of the field chose the top.
And this is why I love the choose cone. Despite the fact that it seems like you want to be on the top, you have that opportunity if you can make those spots up to go to the bottom of the track. So this is another chance for drivers to try and get that track position that we know is oh so important here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Will Norton change for the race lead? He'll have control of the restart as he puts that top line right against that outside retaining wall, and he'll take off, get the race lead. Green flag is out, and we are back underway.
And near bits of contact with some of the drivers, try to send it into the corner. And drivers like Brian Mercurio are going to potentially go backwards here, and immediately some of these drivers trying to find holes, others squeezing each other for some of these holes.
They're trying to find any slot up there that they can, and right now that entire outside line is just clogged with drivers at the moment. You have several trapped here trying to move up. Christian Peterson, Josh Parker, who may be able to slot himself in off the corner. He does. You even see another driver who has moved forward very quickly in this race. Started back in 10th. He's in 5th right now. He's looking just to the outside of Tucker Minter here for 4th. It's the birthday boy, Sean Butler. Happy birthday to him, and it's looking like he's going to try to have a solid run here tonight as he's just a couple inches off of Minter. Minter's going to clear him on the back stretch.
Just couldn't keep it side by side for much longer there to be able to get that pole. Good job by Minter to be able to clear on by there, but Now it's the question of who's going to be able to get that bottom line to work once more. We talked about Christian Peterson getting it to work before. He sacrificed a couple spots with the choose cone on the top. Now it's the matter of getting to rhythm if you're some of these competitors.
And this is a rhythm racetrack. You have a lot of freedom when you're not battling side by side with somebody. That second lane, that third lane, all of that 12 degrees of banking that is here at the top of this racetrack. There's a lot of different ways that you can attack it. You can dive in the corner. You can obviously run right along the wall that we see a lot of these drivers doing early on in these runs. You see side by side right there, Ethan Quarter there on the top side, Jordan Worth right in tow with him. 2x2 here just on the outskirts of the top 10.
Yeah, and you can see some of the differences here. Patrick Vogel just struggling off the corner. But here's the thing. It's so tight when you're on the top side by side in some cases when you're in this position. And that's why you see the drivers drift down and try and go for a double apex of sorts, where we've seen that so far. Because if you don't, you have this.
Oh, and one car hard in the inside wall. Imagine that will bring the caution flag out. It looks like the 115 machine of Patrick Vogel. A hard hit, the 55 of Adam Sweet, who was involved in that last wreck, is going to be wrapped up in it as well. And it looked like a mirror image, or I wouldn't say a mirror image of our last caution, but once again, contact with that car on the outside. Vogel looked like he may have tried to get up there, slot himself into the top side. Quarter just had a nose, and unfortunately that got the 115 out of shape and just missed getting past the very tail end of that inside wall.
I think Quarter got a little bit loose too. He was starting to slide all the tires and didn't go completely up to the wall either in that sequence. I think he just wasn't expecting him to try and come up there in that circumstance, and now puts us under yellow and mixes up the strategy as several different drivers will now swap around and come into the pit lane while a majority of the field will stay out as a result of this instant. Hard contact there for Sweet at the end of it.
I was about to say, Sweet had plenty of time there. He was all the way in the back of the field. Still manages to get involved in that one, so not been a good night so far for Sweet. He's been involved in both of our caution flags thus far. You see the race off of pit road. Ethan Quarter, Sean Butler, Cosman Ionescu, just a couple of our contenders who, mind you, weren't just in the back and deciding to come down and take tires. They're taking a little bit of a gamble here to hope that we see a little bit of green flag racing and use these fresh tires to their advantage. Again, there is no limit on the amount of tires that these drivers have in pit road like we've seen at certain points throughout this season. You can go down there and get 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles whenever you so choose. But second caution flag here as we work around lap 30 of 150 laps tonight, so still quite a ways to go here. But this is one of those tracks, Justin, 150 laps can go by fairly quickly with how quickly these laps will tick off.
Yeah, this race can fly on by indeed, especially with the rhythm and flow of this track, approximately 3 laps per minute when you're into green flag speeds. But want to loop back to that thought process with the pit stops. Here is, I think, the thoughts here, Blake. If we get a caution, say, in 10 more laps after a run, guess who comes in likely to counter that? Some of the drivers who ended up staying out under this caution. Who cycles in front of them? Drivers like Quarter, like Butler, like CP, like John Poole III, Nate Stewart. So it can flip the grid potentially if we do that here. Now the tough part's going to be how it all factors in for these drivers, and if you get that there, as apparently, by the way, that choose we just seen, Blake, several drivers may have just hit it.
Yeah, they elected to throw the caution flag to allow the rest of the field to catch up, and they may go back and review 1 or 2 of the drivers throughout the field who may have hit that yellow line that tonight serves as our choose rule. But I think about somebody that just came down pit road, Ethan Quarter, Sean Butler. This is where that choose cone can even work in your favor a little bit more than it had, as we get another display for the yellow flag, so the lights will come on the pace car. But this is another situation where this may help those drivers that elect to try and do this off-sequence strategy where they can take tires, and instead of starting back in 15th or 16th, where Ethan Quarter and Sean Butler were slotted, well, guess what? They move forward a couple of spots. They get to try out that inside, and of course, they have those fresh tires. So this is why, again, I am a big fan of this choose cone.
Yeah, the choose cone makes for some interesting strategy, as it was Maroney Jr. and Zwack who ended up hitting it, by the way. But it's going to be important for those competitors to be able to utilize those fresh tires early, because the equalization point can close up fairly quickly here at this short track.
It certainly can, as we'll close it back up here again. That will slot forward a couple of drivers that elected to take the outside line. Mulrooney will get dropped to the back of this field as a result of him hitting that choose cone. So pace car will pull off. Again, it'll be Will Norton up front. He is your leader. He elected to choose the bottom of the racetrack. Jordy Lopez Jr. to his outside. He led about the opening 18 laps here. As we get back underway, green flag is out. Lap number 35 of 150 on the board. Norton leads him into turn one, and they're 3 wide behind him.
That's not going to be good here at this racetrack to go 3 wide. Usually that's a recipe for disaster. And several drivers nearly made contact, I believe, in that grouping. Some of them are still going 3 wide in the mid-pack.
The 56 of John Poole, he is on the bottom there as they work onto the front straightaway. They shuffle out 2 wide. You have your fresh tires and that rainbow striped machine of Ethan Quarter, Sean Butler. They're looking a scattered 4 wide here. Here comes Peterson. He gets a door from Butler. They make contact. They get into the corner. Butler nearly into the back of Rice. Butler into the wall. A lot going on here, and they're going to be wrecking behind them. Caution's out.
And I believe it was Rich Jamison who ended up getting turned around by Aaron Maroney Jr. to bring up the caution flag. And this is going to be on Jamison possibly, because he tried to change lanes down the middle of the back straightaway and came across the nose of Maroney Jr. and destroyed his nose.
I believe that might be the case. Yes, exactly. Rich Jamison, you're going to see here, gets that run off the top side, uses that banking. He's going to look to the inside of the 115 directly in front of him, of Patrick Fogel, and just there was the nose of Aaron Mulrooney Jr. So he cuts across that nose, hard contact with the inside retaining wall, and that will bring out our 3rd caution so far in this race.
It's starting to lean towards the attrition mark that we talked about more than the long green flag run part, but it's just the nature of the racetrack. When you're trying to run to the high groove and trying to get yourself in a position to make some passes without burning up your equipment, without putting yourself in a compromised position, it can get very difficult for how these drivers will make moves. It takes a lot of talent to be able to pass here, to say the very least.
It does, and I think that's one of the things that we'll have to keep in our notebooks that we saw over the course of this last run, was those drivers who elected to pit this most recent caution and take those 4 fresh tires. They weren't exactly able to make their way forward in the field quite like we thought we would see. So Sean Butler, you see him, he's coming back down on pit road once again. But Ethan Quarter, a couple of those guys just not able to make up the time that they thought. It was a lot tougher to work through traffic. So I'm sure that that is something that Will Norton, Jordy Lopez Jr., Tucker Mentor, all these guys who kept their track position, they're probably happy they did that. I'm sure that's something that they'll learn later on in this race, that track position is going to be very key to ending up in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, and that's why I was impressed and have been impressed with Jonathan Oates and his way of holding on to 8th position so far. Remember, he took 2 tires under the previous pit stop situation, and he's been able to just hold his line, be able to keep position. And that's one of the key things when you're on that strategy, is it can be more difficult to grip up, a bit more looser with the 2 tires, but it gets you the track position. Compare that to where he was before, where he was a bit more in the heart of the pack. It gets you towards the front with a chance to battle as we approach the choose.
Another thing that may be interesting with some of these guys pitting is whether they can make it to the end on fuel. Of course, we have 110 laps to go, so we'd have to go green to the end to worry about that. But perhaps a couple of drivers thinking of that, as well as we'll once again see the choose rule come into effect. It's mostly looks like it kind of an alternating view right here. Everybody just kind of choosing the opposite of the driver in front of them. Not too many drivers. You see 2 in a row take the outside there, 2 in a row on the inside. So not quite seeing the shuffling that we were seeing a little bit earlier, but as we continue to sort things around on strategy, I think that will continue to evolve and unfold as pace car is in, but we have thrown the caution flag once again. So we will see. I don't know. The pace car pulled off. It looks like they threw the yellow flag again. I'm not sure where the pace car is, but we may be getting the restart this time by Will Norton, Jordy Lopez. Lopez tries to get a jump. We are going to throw the green flag. So Barney's got the green flag. He's waving it. Will Norton has the lead into turn number 1. Lopez slots into second. And they're side by side for third between Minter and Justice.
Now a good launch once more, and Tucker Minter's doing a really good job timing up these restarts on that bottom line. The tough part is Derek Justice is not giving him any slack on that top line. In fact, he's trying to utilize as much space as he can to the left side of his car to be able to help his rotation and squeeze Tucker Minter off.
He's going to do just that and utilize the run on that top side, but he's not going to get clear of Minter here down the back straightaway. The 10 holding strong there on the bottom. May just have enough here to get him off of turn number 4 as they work onto the front straightaway. Lap 44 on the board, and I think Justice is going to be able to get him now. He'll move forward before he gets past or comes under attack from the car behind him and Brian Mercurio in that number 62 machine.
Oh, and Christian Peterson hit the wall as well, pushing off the corner. That's going to give him some significant fender damage. But yeah, right now, seems like once more you just want to find that rhythm up on the top line. And once you get comfortable, you can get that bottom line to work. CP almost looks a bit more comfortable rotating that bottom line. Been really impressed with his ability to be able to maneuver different lines. His oats in the wall.
And that's going to get Peterson another spot again. Peterson, the furthest car forward that pit under the caution flag on lap 29. Every other driver up here pit on lap 17. You see how well he's able to hang with Worth there on corner exit. Worth obviously has that run off of the corner, but Peterson able to keep with him. You see the difference those fresh tires make. So again, something else going in the notebook of these crew chiefs and these drivers. Watching Peterson, who has now worked his way up to 7th, still on those fresh tires, he's trying to still march towards the front.
Yeah, this has been an impressive run for him so far. I'm also keeping my eyes, though, on a couple of the others who navigated in the pit. How about Nate Stewart? He's now clawing his way on forward as well. It's been an up and down season for him, but it's 19 positions gained for Stewart so far.
Stewart, another one of those drivers on that same sequence of strategy as he goes wide there off at turn number 4. He'll have to get back single file and try to work through it once again. So Nate Stewart also having a decent run utilizing that strategy as Worth into the fence off of the corner, and Worth looks like he's going to try to, he almost looks like he came down pit road there with how low he got off of the corner. I think he just got loose after making contact with the outside wall, but Worth unfortunately falling back, loses a couple of spots, and Ethan Corder will go by as well as they work into turn 1.
I think he was just turning the wheel so hard to the left to get it unstuck from the wall that it ended up hooking his car all the way down that low on the racetrack. A great job to make sure he didn't come up into traffic. But now he's going to have to deal with damage a little bit as well. You can get away with some of it to the sides here at this racetrack, but you need to be careful once more with the aerodynamic properties of this race car. If you damage it too much, it can affect your speed. Best example of that, some of the drivers who are without parts of their car towards the back of the field still, such as Brett Pancari, who's taken some big hits, Adam Sweet, Rich Jamison, who are struggling.
not going to help indeed, but you hope that that return is diminished with how much or how little aerodynamics would matter here at a short track. As we see Ryan Doucette, big slide job into turn number 1. He'll move by Nathan Rabideau. A lap or two ago, Evan Rice had scraped the outside wall, so he's able to go by. Here comes Josh Parker. You see that slide job being utilized. He's going to be able to complete that pass, and I think that's the most common move that we're going to see, especially later in these runs, as these guys wear their tires out. They're going to try that slide job. That is going to be the preferred passing line for these drivers, and I think we're just seeing a preview of it here in a battle for about 12th or so.
I think we're seeing a great preview of that as well, because for some of these competitors, it's just that simple. Clear by the apex, be able to make the move. But up towards the front, the difficult part is Lopez Jr. is just a couple 100s quicker than the race leader. That's very difficult to try and get yourself side by side with the leader with. So in our words, if you want the race lead here, you may need to hope for some traffic that is starting to approach. Rich Jamison is within range of losing another lap.
Well, we did see it come into play pretty significantly back at South Boston a couple of weeks ago when we were at that short track. How much getting by lap traffic, navigating your way to the low side to the high side was a big factor in determining the victor of that race. And I don't imagine that tonight is going to be any different. And also, Justin, noticing that I feel like Jordi Lopez starting to chase down Will Norton just a little bit. That 99 looking awfully smooth there through the middle of the corner. It's about a car length now that separates Norton and Lopez, and looks like that 99 pretty sporty. If anything, he can hang with Norton, and like you said, if he's in a proper position as they start to approach a little more lap traffic as we get a little deeper into this run, he may have that opportunity to try to make his way by.
I agree. It's just a matter of being patient, saving your stuff, and he's trying different lines too. Norton's taking a bit of a flatter run through 1 and 2. Bit more of a higher arc and higher up the racetrack for Lopez Jr. You can see it a little bit right here. He just prefers to put an extra bit more wheel into it compared to Norton, who's taking that flatter run. That'll burn up his right front a little bit more. So that's that little minute difference that is getting him a couple 100s right now compared to Norton. They just keep on trading the times back and forth, though. That's the thing, as Norton continues to perfect his line.
Well, good battle going on here. A really good battle starting to formulate directly behind them. Derek Justice, Tucker Minter, as well as Brian Mercurio, the 10 and the 62, have caught the back of that 31 Baskin-Robbins Toyota. And Tucker Minter right now all over the back bumper of Derek Justice, starting to look a little bit loose there in that 31. Minter awfully strong on these short tracks. I feel like we're going to have kind of two separate battles going on here. Obviously, that race lead between Will Norton and Jordi Lopez Jr., but I think Tucker Minter, he is a short track winner previously this season in this FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals. And I think he's showcasing his speed right here. It's just got to look for that right opportunity. It's tough to pass up here in the top 5. But I think Minter just biding his time, looking for an opportunity. He may look low here off of Justice off turn 4.
I think he wants to go. That's why he's going so low in 3 and 4. He's trying to get to that quarter panel and get side by side, and that's the tough thing, is you're so fixated on trying to get yourself to that position that you eventually burn up your equipment trying to yank the steering wheel down lower and lower. And now I think Justice is starting to get a little bit more defensive here, a little bit more forward here, and he's now copying the line of Tucker Minter.
Well, if you're Justice, you can copy that line, or with how difficult we've seen it is to pass here on the bottom, you just defend that high side. There's really nothing that can happen as the caution flag is out for the 4th time this evening. Looking around here, Jordan Worth has spun on the front straightaway. He's trying to get back going right in front of the race leaders. He's going to be able to get his car rolling in the proper direction just before he would go a lap down. But looks like he may have had some help on that one. And yeah, a little bit, I believe a little bit of contact there with Ethan Corder. And Worth runs into the inside wall and brings out the yellow once again.
And another 4-tire drift coming into play, I think, in part with the 818. That put him a little bit lower to the wall than I think maybe what Worth expected. But at the same time, Worth was starting to go around in the first place. Right before that contact, he started getting a little bit fishtaily. Then he got a lot fishtaily with the help of the door-to-door contact. Just hard contact and not the night Worth wanted to have this evening so far. Significant damage.
I'm sure it's not the type of night that he wanted to have. Quarter on the fresher tires. They were battling back there just outside the outskirts of the top 10 as we see every driver now starting to make their way onto pit road. Norton still keeping his advantage. Again, this is the difference in the race, was the race off of pit road. The last time everybody decided to come down and take 4 tires, Will Norton will keep that lead over Jordy Lopez Jr., Derek Justice, as well as Tucker Minter, who comes out in 4th. But we will continue our coverage here, the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals. We've seen 62 laps, still a long ways to go here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing. Nice to see that Gen 7 on there. It is going to be run once again, the Pro Invitational Series on a Wednesday night. That should be fun to see at the brand new Chicago street course that is going to debut. We'll see if NASCAR is ready for street courses, as looks like Will Norton, Jody Lopez, your top 2. Norton still electing to choose that inside line. Pretty much tick for tack behind him. Is Norton going to get away here by about a car length in front of Lopez into turn 2? Lopez goes low to block Minter. Minter going to slide up and gets the spot over Derek Justice. So a change there for 3rd. And Christian Peterson going to get the best of Brian Mercurio. He'll slot himself in the 5th position.
That's a spot Minter wanted for a long while, but look who's making his way up to the front. Josh Parker with a chance to slide his way into the top 6 now.
Parker trying to make the move on the inside of Brian Mercurio. This is for 6th, but you see they're off at 2. Mercurio able to get off at the corner, and now Josh Parker in a battle with Kevin McAdams behind him. He has an option here if you're that 18. You could try to pass, you could try to slot in front of McAdams, or you can back off, get in line before Jonathan Oates is able to catch you two running side by side. Parker going to try to get by McAdams. McAdams holding strong there in the 0-2, again in a substitute effort for Ryan Araki, and now Parker just going to think better of it. He's going to put himself there in front of Jonathan Oates as they have worked single file all the way pretty much through about the top 15, and Oates is loose behind him.
Oh, what a great job by Oates to save that race car. Just avoided hitting the inside wall, and a massive drift there, and that loses all the track position he did a great job holding on to in the first place. And it's so easy to get loose here coming off the corner, especially with how hot this track is.
It really is. We'll take another look at it here on the replay, and got really loose there. Did Jonathan Oates off of turn 4. Really tough to hold that right rear when it's wanting to slide under you with how hot slick this racetrack is. And there you see it right there. Nose pointed to the inside wall. Does a good job missing that left side of his race car there on the inside retaining wall. But, oh, boy, what a save right there for Jonathan Oates. It'll cost him a lot of track position, but he'll be able to hold on here as we almost got a battle for the race lead. Lopez all over the back of Will Norton here. Tucker Minter starting to look pretty sporty there in that number 10 as well.
Yeah, they've been applying the pressure for a good while to Norton. The thing is, Norton hasn't really cracked under the pressure so far. He's done a very solid job just maintaining laps, and that's the pace you get to have as the race leader, though, is you get to save your stuff and allow the drivers in some cases to try and burn up their equipment to get to you. I think Lopez Jr., though, is now figured things out. He's just about got an opportunity to poke his way to the inside. I think Norton's starting to adjust to it.
And Norton running a little bit lower through turns 1 and 2 that last time than Jordy Lopez did. And you could see getting into 3 and 4, you could see offsetting just a little bit as Lopez trying to get that run off of the corner, maybe set something up, working down the straightaway to maybe poke to the inside or to the outside of Will Norton if he can help it. You see it once again. There you see that offset just running a little bit higher than Norton to maybe try to get that run off and try to set something up, but Norton able to get the better of him on corner exit that last time. So see Lopez, because of that, he's entering a little harder right now than Norton. He enters a little lower, kind of uses more of that diamond line that we were talking about a little bit earlier. You see right there all over the back bumper, nearly contact made through 1 and 2. That's maybe how you're going to have to do it here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
But do you really do it at halfway? I don't think so. How about he does do it at halfway? Wow.
He'll give him the bumper, and he'll look to the inside. They go side by side as we cross halfway here in this race. Just under 75 laps to go, and now Norton hanging strong on the top side. This is exactly what Tucker Minter wants to see. Give the nose to Jordy Lopez as they work into 3 and 4. Lopez with the slider. We'll see what Norton tries to do. He'll cross him over here to the bottom of turn 4, and contact made between Lopez and Norton. Norton keeps the spot. Here comes Derek Justice and Tucker Minter.
And I don't think Lopez Jr. is going to be happy about that contact. Significant right rear damage now, infecting his spoiler as well. That's going to really impact the handling of that machine.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened there. Lopez gave him the bumper, and Norton, because of that, returned the favor with a little bit of contact of his own. So this is one of those things. It is tough to pass here at a short track. We have seen tempers flaring already, and if Lopez gets back to the 25, what will we see again? That's the interesting part here. As you can see, that is set up a battle here for third and put Minter on the bottom. And now Justice trying to hold on the top side there of Tucker Minter. They nearly collect each other off of turn 4. Minter trying to do all he can to clear the 31. Justice not letting him have it as Minter nearly rides Justice into the wall. And now Minter able to get clear. So the 10 keeps third as he was kind of put in an awkward position there with everybody checking up in front of him. Justice still trying to poke his nose to the outside. Nothing doing here, but I don't think Lopez is exactly losing ground here on Will Norton. I think he may have the opportunity to get back to him, and who knows what we'll see if he gets that chance.
A light show is what you may see at that point. And it's just a matter right now of saving your stuff to be able to have an opportunity to charge back, because we know Lopez Jr.'s got the speed. It's just very difficult to be able to pass for the race lead here. By the way, they're having traffic in front. Robert Dorman with a chance to lose a lap here, and they're quickly gaining on the back of the rest of the field too. If this run continues, it's going to be very interesting how the traffic comes into play once more.
Absolutely, and this is one of those things we talk about at a short track, Justin, that if you're Will Norton right now, you're thinking, oh, well, we're dead even. You know, you got me once, I got you back, made a little bit of contact, we're 1 for 1. If you're Lopez, you're thinking, well, you know, I gave you a little bit of a bumper, got you a little bit out of the way, moved you out of the groove, and then I made a pass on you, and you about tried to wreck me. So if you're in Norton's mind, you're thinking, all right, we're even. This is, you know, it's just hard short track racing. If you're Lopez, you're thinking, well, I don't know if what we did was fair or even. So this is one of those things about drivers and the psychology of racing at short tracks like this is if you're Will Norton, you're thinking, all right, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I think we're square even. If you're Lopez, you may still have a little bit of revenge on your mind.
The main thought process still is, I'm surprised he elected to go for the bump and run, or at least use the bumper at halfway in the race. That's something you do with maybe 3 laps to go usually. And now he's paying the price for it a little bit with that damage in the back end. He definitely got the worst end of the damage from that equation and all of that. And now he's running slower lap times compared to Norton after the contact.
He is. I was about to say it looked like for a couple of laps there that Lopez was reeling him in, but Norton has done a decent job of creating a little bit of distance between the top 2 spots. That last time by had him by about half a tenth, and that has been consistent for the last 3 or 4 laps. So Norton starting to stretch it out here a little bit over Jordy Lopez Jr. You see the advantage on your screen is probably about 4 or 5 car lengths or so that 25 has built over the 99. Meanwhile, Minter and Justice, they have not gone away from the 99. They're doing a pretty good job of battling directly behind them, but it's really a 4-horse show here at IRP as Justice and Minter, Lopez and Norton really running all under the blanket right now.
Yeah, and the question's going to be, though, what will some of the drivers behind do? Because don't forget, CP is back there. He's starting to fall off, I've noticed, though, by about a tenth or 2 a lap to the race leaders. Kevin McAdams, a tenth or 2 off the race leaders. Parker's been sliding back. So these drivers have really burned up their stuff back here compared to the race leaders in terms of the pace after being so blistering quick early on in this race, some of them.
They were very quick, but quickly approaching here is that lap traffic that we were talking about being so key and critical to this race. You see Norton there off of turn 4. I actually like the line that Will Norton's running. Not running necessarily all up in that upper banking, but you can see he's kind of cutting across, putting his left side tires right on that dip on the bottom line, using that to help rotate his car just a little bit. But now, where is that lap traffic going to go? We see Malillo pull to the bottom of the racetrack. I think we'll see Andy Margot do the same as well. But some of these guys, they're going to think, well, I'm a lap car. I'll just go high, whether you're using that groove or not. So it'll be interesting to see how Norton and Margot attack this. You see Margot going to the bottom. But that line that Will Norton's running as he exits the corner, dips his left sides right there onto that lesser banking on the bottom side. You'll see he'll cut down right here and right now puts those left sides just enough on the flat, not enough to slow him down, but enough to get kind of the rear end of the car rotated a little bit. Maybe he's found some speed utilizing that line.
Yeah, helping it rotate a little bit more. It slides the back tires a little bit, yes, but it's going to potentially help that car turn a little bit better on that corner exit, and that's, I think, what Lopez Jr. is aiming for. Burn up that right rear a little bit. Try and balance it out with the right front with tires right now. That's pretty smart of Lopez Jr., and that's now gotten him to where he's matching times and starting to get faster again than Norton, as Norton now has clapped the wall.
Yeah, saw there on the back straightaway a little bit of contact there for Will Norton, who has some right front damage after that contact with Jordy Lopez, and he does a little bit of scraping of the outside retaining wall on the back straightaway here as they continue to work along. Minter has caught this group, and Lopez both have been faster than the race leader these last couple of circuits around IRP. So can Lopez, can Minter run them down? They're doing it right now. It's about a car length that separates each of these 3.
And a bit of a dicey moment there for Lopez Jr. Really slid the back tires that time, and I think Minter is starting to see his eyes light up there with an opportunity to try and pounce if there's too big of a drift, sort of like what we've seen before with Jonathan Oates. All the way just about to the back bumper, in fact, that time was Minter.
Actually, we had a situation here on the back straightaway. Lucas Plosel and Jordan Worth got together, and I think Plosel tried to retaliate against Jordan Worth. They ended up saving it, but Plosel, after getting a door from Worth, went down, hit him in the right rear, tried to spin him out. was unsuccessful in doing so, but this is a battle we'll have to kind of keep our eyes on, keep ourselves aware of. As one car spun here to the inside, it's Ethan Quarter. It is out of the way, but the caution flag has flown as looks like the 52 of Casey Nimitz and Ethan Quarter hard in the inside wall. Caution flag is out just as that battle for the lead was shaping up.
And just as I think Mitchell may have taken away second spot, and I think definitely Quarter getting some of the worst of it, where he had nowhere to go, because it's so easy here at this racetrack to where if you burn up the right front and get in the gas too early several times over, it eventually heats up that right front. It makes it plow in the spring compress. It compressed right into the wall, essentially off the corner exit, and nowhere for Quarter to go. And Quarter getting significant damage from that, also a big hit for Nimitz.
Another caution that will shake this thing up. I imagine, Justin, that this is the last time we'll see a majority of these drivers come down onto pit road. If we get a caution in about 20 laps, I think the track position is going to be important to keep, which we see off of pit road once again. Norton able to keep his dominance on pit road here tonight. He exits pit road first. Minter entered in second. So he will be in second and have the second option when it comes to the choose cone. I have to imagine that Norton will choose the bottom. Minter would choose the top. But Lopez slotted back into third. Justice and Mercurio have both been hanging around in fourth and fifth. They still run there as well. Peterson up to sixth. Kevin McAdams having a nice solid run in the 0-2 Bobcat Ford Mustang. He runs in the eighth position. Josh Parker looks like he was ninth off of pit road, and he'll have another opportunity. Andrew Schwartz will round out the top 10. Excuse me. Schwartz and ninth. Rabideau will be your 10th driver off of pit road. Doesn't look like anybody's staying out, but have to imagine, Justin, this will be the last time we see those drivers come down pit road.
Especially with it getting towards 50 to go. This is where we see some drivers take some gambles here. Absolutely. It's just a matter of how long of a run do we get, Blake, is going to be the key word for that. And going to be the determining factor for some. Wouldn't be surprised to see some risk it if they're towards the back to take the tires, but we'll have to wait and see.
We certainly will. Speaking of wait and see, we have some more things that you can see here on STN in the coming days. We have the Four Corners Racing League on Monday night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll tackle the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Again, that one will start at 8:20 right here on STN. Then a couple of days after, Thursday night, the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series from Martinsville. Should be very entertaining. Second split coverage will be right here on STN. Top split coverage will be left to Podium Esports with just 2 races left in round number 1 of the Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. Should be plenty of drama with Martinsville and a lot of spots up for grabs in that top 70. FTF 1, the season finale at Monza, will take place next Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, as well as the return once again of the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals. They will also visit Monza in an Xfinity car. Should be very fun. Again, that will kick off just as we did tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. Actually, no, that is not the road course at Monza. That is the oval. So, oh boy, will that be entertaining. You won't want to miss that. We'll have coverage of that next week on STN. So Norton in control of the field. He now has Tucker Minter to his outside. We haven't seen that up to this point. 50 laps to go, 49, when Barney waves the green flag. A lot left to decide here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Green flag back out.
Well timed by Minter. And Lopez Jr. actually going to possibly lose third spot here with the good send from Derek Justice into the corner.
Justice may have it. We've seen that third position, that second spot on the inside work for a couple of drivers. Is Justice going to be able to slide up in front of Lopez? It looks like the answer is no for now, but he just squeezes up in there in front of Lopez, and Justice will get that third spot. So interesting, we've seen that third position on the inside, second car in line, has been able to get the job done, but now Minter so strong on these tracks in the second position, he may now have what it takes to get to the back of Will Norton. And in these closing laps,
bump and run more likely to happen as they get single file through about the top 10, top 15 cars.
And drivers are now setting their fastest laps of the race. The top three just did that. It's Evan Rice around trouble.
Evan Rice off of turn number 2, and a couple more will pile on in as we get yet another caution flag here at Lucas Oil Raceway. You see Brett Pancari involved in it as well. A tough accident there off the exit of turn number 2. And we will see exactly what happened here on the bar visuals replay in just a couple of moments. But from my vantage point, Justin, looked like, at least from my perspective, a little bit of help was had there to the back of Evan Rice. I think it may have been Aaron Mulrooney Jr. there in the 020 that may have gotten into the back of him. We'll see it once again up here on the replay.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact on the corner exit. Mulrooney Jr. ended up going right underneath the left rear fender, just about quarter panel rather, and just bumped him as he got a better run coming off the corner in that situation. Just nowhere for some of the other drivers to go as Rice got pin-ponned, Butler got turned around, and Pancari, who was going to the bottom to avoid it all, just ended up sliding right into Butler.
About to say, good list of drivers that are involved in this one. Not a ton of room here at this racetrack to try and miss some of these accidents. Jonathan Oates, as you mentioned, Brett Pancari, hard impact. Not a good birthday present there for Sean Butler. Obviously, Evan Rice is kind of around where it all started. Aaron Mulrooney Jr. given the end of longest line penalty here. You see Butler nearly had it clear, gets clipped there in the left rear. Have to see who that was by. I think that may have been John Poole, who didn't really have much of an option. Nowhere really for that 56 to go either. So unfortunate for there. He gets into the back of the 32, and you see the Pennzoil Ford all mangled on pit road. So big damage there. Yeah, bottom split in shambles. I guess we could say that is. We will continue our coverage here in just a couple of moments from Lucas Oil Raceway. When we come back, we'll take you to the finish as we continue here in the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Back under the green flag here as we approach 41 laps to go. And Will Norton not going to have control of that outside. It looks like Minter got a great launch there. Can he try to stick it on the outside? Challenge for the race lead.
It's going to be very difficult. Norton's been really good on rounding that bottom of the racetrack. I think he is clear. As well as second place clear. That battle going on for third spot. Mercurio chose the bottom line with the choose.
We've seen that third position work for a number of drivers. It worked for Justice that last time, so we'll see Mercurio able to take advantage of it as Justice runs into the wall there and now pinches hard down on Mercurio. They nearly make contact, and boy, did Justice really send it in to try and stay on that high side. They go nose to tail. That is the battle for third. Contact made with Justice as the 62 slides up, and they are still going at it. Tough battle for third here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
And they are really going at it indeed right now, like cats and dogs. Just a matter of trying to clear on by. And I think Mercurio is starting to lose momentum now on that line and trying to squeeze himself in front of Lopez.
And Lopez, contact is made as Mercurio made his way up there, forced his way in front of Jordy Lopez. We'll see what the response is here from the 99. May give him the bumper. Mercurio gonna wisely move up and try to get the 99 a little bit of space right there. And actually, he's gonna get some contact there. Lopez into the 62. And Lopez continuing to fall back. He's gonna give a door to the 62. Some good stuff right here, but this is going to end with somebody getting turned. Lopez contact once again, and now he's backed up to this battle between McAdams and his teammate and Christian Peterson.
And Lopez Jr. is just costing himself a lot of time in position at this point. You have to be smart at this point, and he's not in the coolest of minds, to say the very least. That's now set up a side-by-side, by the way, with McAdams and CP. And Christian Peterson has been struggling with that right front damage for a little while now, it seems.
It has. It's also allowed Josh Parker to get into this battle. It's one of those things that if you're going to retaliate, you got to get it done quickly. If you spend too long doing it or trying to retaliate the clean way, I don't know if that's even a term that we can use, but you're going to end up losing a little bit of time as a result of that. So, man, great action happening up here in the top 5 as Lopez not quite done with Mercurio. He's pulled right back up to him. Then remember, this is an intense battle for the Owners' Championship between the 62 and the 99. Rotation of drivers for both of these cars. Mercurio piloting the 62 to 9. Of course, Jordy Lopez, Michael Cozy Jr., a couple of drivers that have driven that 99. This is, for that Owners' Championship, one of the best championship battles we have going on in this series. So, a true matchup here. These guys may not like each other as they move forward throughout this season. We'll see once again what Lopez is willing to do, because there's definitely a lot of contact the last time these two met. And oh, a big accident. One car flipping wildly here in the entry to turn 1. It is John Poole who exits, nearly was sent over into the drag strip that is across the street as he went flying in turn 1. Caution is out, and my goodness, what an impact that was.
And I'm not sure what to say with that incident, because Nathan Rabideau, I think, was the first driver who ended up hitting the wall down the front stretch, ended up clipping Poole, and then I'm not sure what to say after that.
Well, we'll take a look at it once again. We'll see right here, 93, like you said, gets caught up there. The 56, so the safer barrier just grabs that nose. And the only thing that can get him free is another race car. And when it does, man, that 56 just takes off. Was trying to view, I don't know, a pro stock race across the street or something. But my goodness, what an impact for John Poole. Is that will obviously expire the motor right there. You see, hits the wall and kind of just gets grabbed by it.
Well then, an interesting moment, and by the way, majority of the field elected to pit here. So there's that, except for these two. Maroney Jr. and Dorman and Derek Justice took 2 tires, as well as Josh Parker, and a lot of strategy now coming out here for this field.
Late in the going, I was wondering how much those tires were going to matter. Enough that with 30 laps to go, we'll see a fair amount of drivers make their way onto pit road. But as you mentioned, Derek Justice, Josh Parker looking for that track position. Justice been hanging around in the top 5 all day. Perhaps all he needs is that track position. That might be enough to push him forward. But unfortunately for him, I'm certain that he was hoping he would have control of this restart. Doesn't look like that is going to be the case, as Robert Dorman stays out, as well as Aaron Mulrooney Jr., who's going to trap a couple of cars who were looking to get the wave around, get back on the lead lap. They're not going to have the opportunity to do just that. And actually, Dorman will come down pit road this time. So Mulrooney, the lone car, staying out on those old tires. And this is going to be something for these guys to try and navigate through. 12-lap older tires for Mulrooney.
I mean, we talked about this. We were expecting these types of gambles from this point forward, and Aaron Mulrooney Jr. is calling his shot, hoping that the track position's the most important part on all this. For Justice and Parker, I think they can make the two tires work. It worked for Jonathan Oates. I think it can work for them. But the matter is going to be, how will Will Norton, Tucker Minter, Jordan Lopez Jr. now respond, who are going to be behind all these drivers and trying to fight very hard here. This is going to be a really intriguing restart here with under 30 to go. And I think at this point, if you're Mulrooney Jr., your bet is made. You come in after this point, you're not getting any chance to get back inside the top 10.
Absolutely not, as Will move to choose. And Mulrooney, I think he hit the cone. He went to go high at the last second, and I believe Mulrooney just black flagged himself from the lead. Awaiting word from race control, but I think that he may have tagged the line for the choose cone. And I wonder if we'll see him pull out a line here in just a moment. What a big blunder that would be if Mulrooney is not your race leader. Still awaiting official word, but my goodness, could this shake things up?
It would shake things up and then some, to say the very least. My goodness. And if I'm correct here, that's the second time Mulrooney Jr. will be booked for hitting the cone this race. A huge mistake to make when you've done that, and they're now checking up in front of the field.
We're trying to listen into the communications for race control. They'll throw the yellow flag once again to keep them pacing around as we're trying to sort out the situation. He may not have hit it, and yet there you go. End of longest line penalty for Aaron Mulrooney Jr., who wasn't exactly on the same tires that everybody else would have been had he stayed out. He was given the EOLL penalty, and you can see he is not responding to it yet. I think he's trying to argue and plead his case, but it's going to fall on deaf ears as the 077 on that tire strategy is going to be sent to the back of the field.
And I don't think he's going to be too happy. Again, this is the second time he's been caught for hitting the choose cone this race, and completely messes up his strategy here. He's not going to get a lot of those spots back. He had made his way back to the mid-pack.
And so he eventually goes to the back, and we have two cars on two tires on the front row. Derek Justice, who chose high, and Parker, who chose low. Justice technically will have control of the restart, and Justice utilizing the high line. We haven't seen too many drivers choose that lane, but it works for Justice, who has the track position he needed. Parker slots in second, but boy, is that 18 car loose. He slides up in front of Norton, and now Tucker Minter, 4 fresh tires. He's going to hope that Parker slips up. Those 4 tires will be good for Minter on the bottom, but I think you see the track position play working out for Parker, and this is exactly, Justin, what Derek Justice wants to see in his rearview mirror. These guys battling out for second.
He wants to see these guys fight for a good bit of time, as some drivers slowing up towards the back, but towards the front, they are rubbing fenders here. Minter is really squeezing Parker to try and force him into a mistake here. They've nearly banged quarter panel the fender at least 2-3 times.
Minter's going to have to make an aggressive move here to try to get it done, or else Derek Justice is just going to drive off into the sunset. As Minter able to use that bottom, he's going to have to run off the corner, so Minter completes the pass. Parker has held up Norton, and now here comes Jordy Lopez with the slide job. He's going to put Norton on the outside wall. Remember, these two have a history earlier on in this race. We'll see exactly what happens here. Lopez, a little bit of contact made on the 25 once again. Norton hanging strong, trying to hold himself out there. Is Lopez going to clear? No, he's not. Norton into the outside fence, and now they are wrecking into turn 1. Caution flag is out.
Waterworth and Plussel going around to the back of the field. And this is going to make things even more so intriguing now with Justice and Minter likely going to be starting 1-2 here. But I believe there may have been a car that may have ended up going squirrely as a result of all this, and that was indeed Waterworth who got the most squirrely out of that with the side-by-side with Quarter.
Yeah, that was just a simple case of Ethan Quarter just, I think, moving up. He was trying to, get prepared for the corner, was going to arc in and try to arc out and get as much room on entry there as possible. And unfortunately, before entering the corner, he just tags the left rear. Gary Waterworth sends the 12 car around. Unfortunately, Waterworth, really nothing much you can do there, and that's exactly right. 818 just turns right on the straightaway, gets him all out of sorts, and obviously Waterworth trying to get it straight, just can't. Get spun to the inside. You see another one, the 45 is involved in it as well. But like you said, Justin, this sets up a very interesting scenario here at the end of this race. Minter able to get through to second on 4 tires. Justice, that lead that he had is now gone.
This is exactly not what Justice wanted to see with the caution flag, as we see in our look with Justin Malillo able to just dodge all the trouble to his right. But you're right. This is not going to be an easy restart now for Justice with how quickly Minter was able to pass on by the drivers with 2 tires, or rather the driver in Parker on 2 tires. But the interesting thing is how Lopez Jr. now fares as well, because he had a great restart and executed it near perfectly. Will Norton shuffled all the way back to 6th as a result of said restart. CP also got by him by the time of the caution.
Be interesting to see again. Been a lot of contact made between that 99 and that 25 car earlier on in this race. So this is one of those things about the choose cone that you can just look in front of you, see where you want to line up, and see if you can line up directly behind that guy that maybe you want to give that bumper to. That's why this choose cone is very neat. Now, we did see Derek Justice, the first race leader, I believe, that we've seen up to this point. I don't know necessarily if he chose the outside because he was the leader. I think he chose the outside on Aaron Mulrooney Jr. And then, of course, Mulrooney gets the black flag. Justice ends up being effectively your race leader. Didn't really have a choice to the outside, but it seemed to work for Justice. But I don't think you want to put Tucker Minter to your inside. I think if you're Justice, you're probably going to choose the bottom, no questions asked.
I think so as well, and I think it's going to be very critical for Justice to be very defensive here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it's the most defensive driving we've seen in this race so far, as to be expected, choosing the bottom. Parker chooses the bottom, as well as Lopez Jr. and Minter will go on top.
It's like Peterson, Norton behind him choose the bottom. Mercurio, Ryan Doucette will choose the top of the racetrack. So we still have 28 cars on the lead lap. This has the feel of one of those FTF races that we may be sticking around for a while. We'll have 16 laps to go when we take the green flag. 2 tires for Derek Justice, 4 for Tucker Minter, 2 on the inside as well for Josh Parker. And then, of course, you have Jordy Lopez Jr. there slotted on the outside line. So can Justice hang on? He's been in the top 5 all night long. Can he get this strategy on the 2 tires to work out, or will we see someone else take the checkered flag? Justice is away. Green flag is out. 16 laps to go here in Indianapolis.
And Minter's already trying to set up the move, already to the back bumper of Justice.
He tried to get there, but Justice smartly will move up to the top side. And if I were Derek Justice, I think you're going to get the bottom to Tucker Minter all day. You dare him to pass you on the bottom. If you give up that top side, it's pretty much over. As Minter slides, here comes Christian Peterson looking 3 wide. Lopez clears himself in front of Josh Parker, so he's able to get back up to 3rd. Mercurio to the outside wall. They're going to be 3 wide between Mercurio, Doucette, and Will Norton behind him.
Oh, and Will Norton just got ping-ponged into the grass. Norton ended up getting hit by Doucette after Mercurio hit the wall again. And Norton going to get the absolute worst of it all the way outside the top 10 as they fight for the lead still up front.
Oh, Norton's lost a ton of spots here. He's going to keep it on the apron, and he may just be calling it quits. A tough ending for what looked like a very promising race here for Will Norton. But up front, battle for the lead. Minter to the bottom of the racetrack. Going to look for that run off the bottom. Minter, another slide off of turn 4. So give it to Justice here. But Minter applying the pressure to the back of the Baskin-Robbins Toyota. And don't forget about Jordy Lopez. He's right up there as well.
It's looking like Minter's trying as hard as he can to try and get this done cleanly. He's been getting close to the fenders, and now he's making contact with them with too much of a slide.
Contact made, and the caution flag is out of the back of the field just as we were heating up front. Andy Margot turning into the inside wall. Looked like a bit of contact there with Justin Rowden. Caution flag is out just as that battle for the late race lead was reaching its peak.
I think the temperatures are going to start flaring now with these closing stages and these final restarts here, but a tough break for Andy Margot. It's been a rough race for him. Just Justin Rowden ends up pushing up the corner, I think, into his left rear. Ends up getting stuck together just about. They were already bouncing off each other in the first place. Margot's focusing on the battle with Lucas Plusso and all this. He's not expecting the contact from Rowden.
No, he's not at all as they get collected here. But what this does is it resets Derek Justice, who looked like he may have been falling into the clutches of Tucker Minter those last couple of laps. We saw the contact made. Believe we heard a call over the race chat. I think it was a bit of an apology there from Tucker Minter to Derek Justice as they made contact. The caution came out just after, so we'll have to see. I know Minter tried to do it cleanly, but also Justin, this is it. This is go time, and it is a short track. The bump and run, using the door, those are all in play this late in the race, I think, if you're Tucker Minter.
I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to it with a late race restart such as this. It's just a matter of doing it properly without wrecking the other driver, and as well leaving yourself enough time to be able to run away without them being able to react properly to it and respond to said contact. So that's where the question marks came into play on the bump and run before used for the race lead with Lopez Jr. and Norton. Now, it's the matter, though, of can Justice hold on? It's going to be under 10 laps to go when we get the green flag here. We know that for sure. What we don't know for sure is how Minter is going to get this job done, because he's doing a good job being able to pass on the bottom. It's just going to be the difficult part of being able to fully clear on by. And if it doesn't come down to contact, then it might come down to a drag race at this rate.
There is a drag strip on this facility, so it may very well come down to just that. And you have to imagine is the further we keep going in this run, the more heat cycles that we put on these tires. I feel like that moves into Justice's column in terms of having better tires at the end, that the more that they cool down and they heat up, that Justice will get a little bit of an advantage over the 4 tires that Minter has. So we'll see the choose once again, and Justice and Minter choose the top. Jordy Lopez, the first driver, on the bottom. So Justice kind of juked out Derek right there. Or Justice kind of juked out Minter, rather. So he slots Minter back into the second car on the outside line with a late maneuver to the outside. But in turn, that gives Lopez the bottom. He's the first car on the inside line. So Minter, I think, gave him a little bump as a little congratulatory, well, you got me there, son, type of thing. But Justice, an interesting move on 2 tires, chooses the outside line. Lopez going to pinch him all the way up there as they'll approach 7 laps to go. This time, Lopez trying to take away as much room for Justice to cut down there on exit. Justice will get away, and that will set up a side-by-side battle for behind him. That's exactly what Eric wanted to see. They get off into turn 1, 7 laps to go. Here comes Minter to the outside of Jordy Lopez.
And what a launch for Jordy Lopez Jr. Another good restart for the 99 in the closing stages. Now it's the matter, though, of getting up to Justice. He's got 6 laps to plan the move.
And again, Nothing can happen back in the back of the field. We do have the potential to go past our scheduled distance tonight, should it so warrant. Here comes Jordy Lopez, 4 fresh tires, a couple of cars banging doors in 1 and 2 as they're 3 wide. No caution yet. They keep it clean. Into 3 and 4, Lopez trying all he can to chase down the 31. They'll come to 5 to go this time.
Oh, and a little bit of a sketchy moment there with Ryan Doucette and company as they go near 3 wide. We continue to stay green as now the caution is out towards the back.
Just as they were about to set up that move, Lopez getting within a car length of Derek Justice, and the caution is out. Short, Melillo, everybody 3 wide there. Melillo actually rides the wall. The 51 goes spinning down to the bottom, and Melillo, who both serves as a racer in this event and race control, obviously not very thrilled. After this one, he gets squeezed up in the fence, nowhere for the 53 to go.
Yeah, I think it's just quite simply the 52 pushed up off the corner, short pull the corner. They all just squeezed Melillo up into the wall and then bounced off each other and spun down the racetrack. And that's just the difficult part of 3 lanes converging down into 2 here at this racetrack. You'll see it in slow motion. Sliding up there is Nemeth. You see he slides up into that middle groove, slides up in Short's groove. He's trying to avoid Nemeth, and then in turn, that slides him right up into Melillo for the hard contact.
Yeah, 51, 52, 53. You'd call it a Rick Ware collection there off of turn 4 if this was the NASCAR Cup Series, if you will. And, I mean, that move right there by Melillo, the way he climbed that wall, reminiscent, I think, of Martin Truex Jr. way back in the day, the NASCAR Busch Series, riding the wall at Richmond. Kind of reminds me of that same type of event for Melillo. Now, he keeps it rolling straight. He's still in 21st, but gets a little bit of damage on that Traxion.GG Ford Mustang as he'll continue to roll along here. But what that sets up now, Justin, unfortunately for Jordy Lopez, is a green-white checkered. Not a lot of time to try and set something up here. But also we have to look at the move from Derek Justice, who kind of slid the rug out from under Tucker Minter when he chose the outside line that last time. Caught Minter by surprise. We'll see if he has another trick up his sleeve for this upcoming round of choosing.
Yeah, this is going to be where there's only one chance, I think, for that 99 to be able to try and make the move. And it might have to come down to physicality at this point, because Justice has been dialed in on these restarts. He chose the top because he wanted the drivers behind to fight and shuffle around. I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar move here to get them to fight and take away that top line from some of the air drivers. The choose when they come next time around is going to be very critical here for Derek Justice, as we are in green-white checker territory, by the way, the first of 3 GWCs.
See what they do. Lights are still on the iRacing pace car. Justice in the lead. Jordy Lopez, Tucker Minter, Christian Peterson, your top 4. Brian Mercurio, Josh Parker, Kevin McAdams, Jordan Worth. What a rebound for Worth, who has been mired back in the field with damage, has made his way up into the 8th position late in the going. So a nice, solid rebound for the Have You Considered Davies Doobies Toyota here in 8th. Andrew Schwartz 9th. Ryan Doucette. Haven't talked a lot about him. He's one of those short track aces. He has a good amount of damage on that Zupals machine. He's bent up that plate just a little bit, and he is in 10th. So looks like we've sorted it out up front. Lopez going to choose the top. Justice electing to go to the bottom of the racetrack right in front of Minter. So you'll have 2 Logitech Altus Esports cars there. The first 2 cars on the outside row. Justice going to try to clear Lopez into turn 1. That's all he can do. Pace car is going to go in, and Justice going to crawl up to speed here. We'll see what he has up his sleeve. Can the 99 put the bumper to the back of Derek Justice, or will this 2-tire call for the 31 pay off? Into 3 and 4, first of 3 green-white checkered attempts here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Justice being patient, gets on the gas. A nice restart for him. Not a bad one for Jordy Lopez either. 2 to go.
And already trying to set things up, already lining up bumper to bumper. He's already trying to give him the contact to the rear end in turn 2.
He nearly got into the back of him here, but I think you want to wait until the last lap to do it, but he's going to have to wait for another chance. His spinner here in the middle of 3 and 4. A ton of cars involved in this one. Casey Nimitz, Robert Dorman, hard contact, Justin Malillo. A lot of cars here. Junk it up in 3 and 4. We'll have to re-rack them, restack them, try it once again. Take a look at the bar visuals replay here in just a moment.
And it's a similar situation to the last caution flag, only this time towards the middle line where 3 lines converged into 2 for the corner exit, I believe, because Nate Stork got a great restart from about the 12th position. Shot it up the middle in between Quarter and Cosman, but there was not enough space with Cosman still trying to diamond the corner, and they all just accordion effect around. Then they all just check up, and drivers such as Malillo, such as Plussel, such as Dorman end up getting collected in a secondary incident in turn 3.
Yeah, that's where it all started, was right there. Nate Stewart, Ethan Quarter. We mentioned Ethan's Quarter's name quite a bit tonight, but you're exactly right. Stewart threaded the needle 3 wide, and I don't know if the 84 or the 818 knew that they were 3. It was a really tight gap for the 13 to try to squeeze in the first place, but they end up collecting it. You see the 818 go around, and then, of course, checking up. Gary Waterworth gets spun, the 51, the 52, the 53 involved once again. So another Rick Ware round, if you want to call it, of those cars getting involved. But another wreck here in the back of the field. We've seen some hard racing. We've seen some tempers. We've seen some bumpers here at the front of the field. But have yet to really see anybody get spun here up in the top 5. And have to see once again if Lopez can get a good launch. Lopez got a great jump on that last restart. He was setting himself up perfectly. If he wanted to make the bump and run on Justice, he had every opportunity to do so. He'll have to try and replicate that for this next trip around on the second of 3 green-white checkered attempts.
He definitely, at the very least, rubbed bumpers to the rear end of Derek Justice. So he was, at the very least, there. He just couldn't get the corner exit to keep up toe-to-toe with the back end of Justice. Now it's the matter, though, of resetting the run, getting your opportunity to set up once more, and hoping you have enough stuff in that car to still be able to make that move. I think there's still going to be plenty of time for this fight.
Still plenty of time to try to get it done. That is what is on the mind of Jordy Lopez, Tucker Minter as well. And we've seen Justice really switch it up here. He was top 2 restarts ago. He was on the bottom the last restart. So he's keeping them guessing. That's what I like as a race leader. You never know exactly where he's going to go. And with this choose situation, you see Lopez giving him plenty of space. They're going to choose this time around. Yes, they are. Justice going to go to the bottom. Lopez, same as last time. He'll go to the top. Minter will go to the bottom as well. So relatively the same as what they did last trip around.
I think they're identical for some of the top drivers here, but remember, Lopez Jr. nearly kept it side by side for the corner entry, and that's going to be so critical here. To be able to keep it side by side would be huge for Lopez Jr. here.
It would be big. Pace car is off. They'll wait until they get into the corners for the second of 3 restarts. Justice was pretty patient that last time. He's been switching it up. Will we see an early launch for the 31? He's going to have to get away from the 99 and take away that possibility of Jordy Lopez Jr. using the bumper. Lopez right on his door. And what a great restart for Lopez. He hangs right with him. Green flag is out, 2 to go. Justice going to have to throw it hard into the corner to have a chance. He's going to get clear. Lopez trying to cross over here.
And a great crossover for Lopez Jr. Now he needs to get the proper run on the bottom as he doors him.
Justice into the outside wall. Lopez scurries away. They're going to get the white flag this time. They're wrecking Justice into the wall. White flag, one more trip around. Jordy Lopez is Lopez now wrecking. Justice into the wall. That collects the whole field. Parker is around. They're still racing. for the lead. Peterson and Minter get together, but Jordy Lopez by about 8 car lengths now. Peterson going to try to send it in on Minter, but it's not going to matter. Jordy Lopez Jr. will win this race as Peterson gets Minter at the line. He uses him up. Tempers flaring in true FTF fashion, but Jordy Lopez Jr., your winner. As you can see, Minter not happy with Peterson. What a finish.
Wow. Just wow. Lots of tempers flaring there in that situation. We knew the contact was coming. It just was the matter of how big it was, and boy, oh boy, was it big.
And we would like to remind you, just got call over the radio, the results of this race are unofficial. So we will wait and see exactly what is going to happen. Of course, you have the rec score in this league now. You can't just run into people and not have consequences. So Lopez going to do burnouts. We'll take a look at the replay and see exactly what happened. But hearing word that this race, as of this moment, is unofficial, and not only could that affect perhaps the win, you see right here, Lopez hard into the corner. Contact with Justice sends him to the outside wall. Justice ends up getting tangled behind them. So we'll have to see how this sorts out. They get 3 wide. Peterson into the wall. Justice into the 62 as he's just trying to control it. McAdams into the back of Parker. Tags Justice around. Mercurio hard impact once again. The entry of turn 1, and the whole field just comes clobbering in.
Yeah, just a track blocker in that situation where you're just trying to hope that you make your way on through properly and cleanly. And there's not too many spaces to be able to do that, obviously, with several different drivers being slid up the racetrack. Now it's the matter, though, of just you can see just nowhere for anyone from about 11th on back to go.
Nowhere for anywhere further on back. You see once again the wrecking behind them. This is the battle for the win. As Minter and Peterson, you could see them get together off of 2. Peterson got run into the wall right there. And of course you see through the corner, Peterson wasn't happy. Minter into the wall. And then of course, right at the end, Peterson uses him up, is able to get second. That's another finish or result that may be under review. This whole thing's under review. I mean, my goodness, I just we'll have to wait for official word on all of this to see who exactly is your race winner tonight. But drama and implications, Justin, it's a phrase that's long been around in this FTF series, whether it's NR 2003, iRacing, it's been around for many years. And I think that perfectly exemplifies this finish tonight. Drama and implications. We'll have to wait on word for everything else. But my goodness.
My goodness, and then some, to say the very least. And I'm just not sure what to really say. Just an incredible finish and a lot of fireworks going off here. It was that type of a night, it seemed, here at this racetrack.
So that will, and just looking at some of this field again, these results unofficial, so we won't try to talk to a winner until we know for certain that has been decided. But just looking at this finishing order and looking down in the interview waiting room, Christian Peterson and Tucker Minter are down there, so we're going to let those guys kind of fight it out down there. But just looking at, again, your unofficial results here, just look at everything going on there in the top 5. I mean, Evan Rice was 13th on the last lap coming to the white flag, ends up finishing in 5th. So much shuffling around of the running order there with that huge accident that happened in turn 1. Robert Dorman started the lap in 16th. He brought it home in 7th. Just so much going on there. Justin Malillo further on back. A lot of guys made up a lot of positions here on this last lap.
Absolutely.
A lot going on here. And again, we are still awaiting confirmation on the official ruling for this race, whether it's the win, whether it's the battle for second. We'll try to, again, update you as we get official word. Still waiting on that, Justin. But I don't know. That was about the most short track racing finish that we could hope for.
Yeah, that was a fireworks affair, and I said it earlier, we're expecting some fireworks. We got some major fireworks at that stripe, and that's in some cases, to be quite honest, what you may have to do here at this track. It's a hard track to pass on, and we've seen some of the results here tonight with some of the shuffling and some of the battling. Absolutely incredible, to say the very least.
And Justin, I'll go ahead and throw it to you. I know it's unofficial, but I'll go ahead and let you catch up here with Jordy Lopez Jr. I'll see if we can get official word on anything else, but we can still talk to him and let you catch up with at least as of the moment an unofficial winner right now, Jordy Lopez.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey Jordy, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. First things first, talk us through that final restart in what was one of the craziest sequences we've seen all season.
Well, I was just trying my best to like just time the restart as good as I can, because like I knew that if I started like if I was able to get to his outside going into turn one, that I had a good chance. And yeah, and it paid out well for us, and I'm glad that we came out on the in P1.
An absolute crazy race tonight. Talk us through the difficulty of trying to pass here, because it seemed like it was a tough place to pass, but it was also one to be hard to pass that without making physical contact.
Well, it's kind of hard because, as like you guys can see, like the only way to like make up like spots is either on restart or in pit road. And I lost a spot in like pit road in the beginning of the race, and it was just so tough. I felt like I was faster, and the only way to like get by someone here is to kind of like bump him just a little bit. I tried that on Will, and I guess he didn't like it so well, and I got put in the wall for it. But yeah, it's just short track racing, honestly. Like you can't really pass people because of the dirty air, and yeah, man, it's very tough.
Incredible race tonight, and again, with all this coming into play, talk us through the importance with the team battle, because you and the 62, along with the 30, are the top three teams in the standings entering tonight and have been shuffling a little bit back and forth. Talk us through that fight with the team championship and having this rotation with the drivers.
It's a very close fight. It seems like every race I do, they win. So it's kind of good to like just steal one away from them for once. And we are just gonna keep trying to keep fighting till the end, man. Because they were, I think, about like half a race or like a race ahead of us. So it's kind of good to like gain some points on them, and just hopefully we can keep the like momentum going into the future races.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Yes, I would like to thank VRS, Logitech, Astro Gaming, Racetech, Cube Controls, Own Live, and iLiries. Can't thank them enough. They're a great sponsor to have. And like everyone there is very nice and cool, and I'm so glad to be able to like have the opportunity to be on Altus Esports.
Thank you very much for the time, Jordy.
Thank you.
And I'll turn things back over to Blake. I believe he may have an update.
We do have an update for you. Jordy Lopez is your winner tonight. That is made official. So Jordy Lopez Jr., we just talked to him. We got word just a couple of moments ago that he is your race winner tonight. So he finishes in first. The results for second, however, have been a little twisted. Christian Peterson handed an end of longest line penalty as a result of the last lap move that he made on Tucker Minter. So Minter will move into second, and we'll catch up with him right now. So Tucker, a lot happening there at the end. Obviously, you're one of the fastest cars here tonight, but just talk us through those last couple of laps, because there was just everything going on, it seemed, from our vantage point.
Yeah, I felt like I was doing right about the best job saving my tires there. On that one green flag run around lap 100, I was getting by Jordy and closing in on Will. And then after that caution, I knew it was going to be a crapshoot. I thought I'd probably be able to get by Will, maybe, depending on how hard he was racing me. And then when the yellows kept coming out and Derek took 2 tires, I didn't think I'd be like that much faster than him. And then I was just about running him over. And then the yellows just kept coming out perfect for him. And then I chose the wrong lane on that one caution. And then he was like really late on backing it down to 30 for resetting the field. And I ran to the back of him. And after that, I had like no straightaway speed and I was killed. And I knew Jordy was going to use up Derek. So I was hoping to be like the guy in position to benefit from that. And then I knew Christian was going to do everything he could to keep me from being in that position. And then, I mean, I felt like he pinched me a little off of 2 as I was coming up and I was kind of racing. And I knew he was going to run me off into 3. So I gassed up for that. And then, I mean, he used the wall to get by me there and put me in the fence. So I guess he got an EOL from that. So I ended up second.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to. Just we heard it from Jordy, and I'm sure you faced him out of it as well. Even with the fresh tires, this is one of probably the hardest tracks to pass on this service in general. The high side is just such a difficult thing to overcome. Just try to talk about that, because I know at points in the race when you had fresher tires, you bottom side work, and it seems like you, if anybody, were just able to make some of those moves. One of the best in the field to do it.
Yeah, right before qualifying, probably 10 minutes before qualifying, I set down a really good lap in practice running the bottom, and I just got really comfortable running down there, and I felt like it was going to be the best line of my tires since I didn't have to turn back down or anything, so I pretty much committed to it for the race. I was feeling confident in it. It was hard because like there are times where Derek would choose the top on like earlier when we were on even tires, and sometimes I'd get him and sometimes I wouldn't, depending on how much we used each other up or whatever. It was more about just being patient and hoping the other guy was either thinking about wheel spin and backing it down or would get wheel spin and you just get a better run off there.
Definitely able to do that. Well, Tucker, we'll throw the mic to you one more time. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just gotta thank the guys at Nexus Esports for convincing me to run. I was sitting there in TeamSpeak. I'm like, man, I'm bored. And they're like, oh, you could run FTF. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that, which is the same thing I did before South Boston. And then I was like, well, fine. I guess there's nothing else to do. So showed up and wound up second. So I guess that's another good run.
So, well, appreciate you catching up, and congrats on, I guess, now your official second place finish tonight.
Yep. Thanks, Blake.
One more to catch up with. Justin Prince is caught up with third place finisher. He had a tumultuous night, but he ends up stepping up on the podium as a result of that penalty to Christian Peterson. Jonathan Oates finishes in third tonight.
Yes, indeed. And Jonathan, first things first, talk us through your race, because you had a lot happen tonight, up and down through the field and even recovering from a spin.
Yeah, it was a wild time, Justin. I mean, it was going kind of decently at first, just kind of inside the top 15, pretty much what I expected. And then I get loose off 4. I didn't really have any warning. I mean, I was lucky enough to save that and didn't slam it into the inside wall like I thought I would. And at that point, it was just kind of trying to focus on getting back through the field. It is really, really hard to pass here. So I was just thinking, if I could get a top 15, I'd be happy. And then with all that I mean, they're showing it on the broadcast now. I can see from the little stream here. I mean, with all that stuff that happened late race, I thought I might be able to get a top 10, and then the entire field's up in smoke in turn 1. So I just kind of gunned it for the gap. I accidentally got into, I don't remember who it was, one of the green cars, because I didn't see him, and he came down. So that's kind of unfortunate for him. I kind of stole a spot. But, I mean, I saw the wreck. I gunned it through. I was able to get through. And at first, I was happy with the top 4, because it's my first top 10 on an oval, second P4 in a row. And then the 30 car gets an EOL, so it just keeps getting better after that. It's just kind of good to have some luck in these things, because I feel like for a while now I've had a lot of solid runs and a lot of bad luck. But I think it just kind of went well, and I was able to get a P3, get some playoff points on the board. So I think everything went pretty well tonight.
Definitely did. And how difficult was it to try and balance this car around this racetrack? You talked about the difficulty of being able to pass here, but you on several occasions elected to take 2 tires as well.
I mean, a lot of it was just about track position. I think at the first pit stop we made, my right sides were at like 199, my left front and left rear. So I just figured, might as well take 2 tires, try and get some spots out of it. It worked at first, but I think once the left side started to wear off more, the car got a lot slidier on that 2-tire call. So towards the end of the race, you kind of need to start taking 4, especially because I'm not really sure. The track just drove a lot differently at the end. It felt like it had a lot less grip, and like the grip was kind of moving around. So a lot of cars were kind of moving down low, and it got a little bit more difficult to work those 2 tires as the grip kind of went away. And getting the balance right, like you said, it was hugely important to being good here. You really had to work the throttle, work the brakes. There were a lot of times when, the way I would have to make a pass is just drive it into the corner, park it in the center, and then kind of use the brakes to get as much balance as I could on the front tires, so it would just shoot back down the track. And I could get around people because it was really hard to pass. But if you were able to work that balance right, you could make a couple of moves out there. So that's just kind of where the balance was.
Next race goes off to Monza. Your thoughts going over there?
Terrified, because from my testing, it's about 2.5 lanes wide at most. There's progressive banking, but it's extremely jagged. It cuts off like halfway through, and then it gets really steep. I'm not entirely on board with the decision to even race the track because I don't have a good feeling about the race. Let's just say that. So it's nice to get a couple of solid finishes in a row here. 4th place at Coda and a 3rd place here tonight. Going into a pretty big unknown. Maybe if I get lucky, I can pull out a win there, but I'm just going in there full survival mode. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm very scared. I also do want to give a quick shout out to my teammates because 3 of us got a top 10. Dorman got a P6, which was incredible for him. I'm really happy that happened. Casey, I think, got 10th because of the EOL, and then Adam got a 13th place finish. So all 4 of us in a pretty new team got a top 15 tonight, so a really good night for me. Good security going into Monza, and a really good night for the team.
Congratulations on the run, Jonathan.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad that you guys put on the broadcast tonight. I'm sure it was really good.
Jonathan Oates coming home with a top 3 tonight, Blake.
He brings it home 3rd, and man, what an ending tonight. Penalties, drama, contact, whatever you could name out of it, we got that tonight here at Lucas Oil Raceway. And Justin, any final thoughts before we sign off for the night?
We talked about the potential of what race we were expecting for tonight, and tonight we got that mix of both, the long runs and the short runs coming in. The attrition also coming into play, but also the fireworks. So we got a little bit of everything tonight when it comes to short track racing with this event. An absolutely eventful race, to say the very least, Blake, and an absolutely exciting finish to close things off.
That it was, and that will close things off for us here. So for my broadcast partner, Justin Prince, for Zach Johnson down in the virtual production trailer, my name is Blake McCandless saying so long tonight from Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, where we bid you farewell, and congratulations to tonight's winner, Jordy Lopez Jr. Until next time.